despite what their moms told them. They just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't even try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot. And really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Now, those two unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Monday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe. For the Believe Entertainment Network, at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there, join the militia. So, I paused, but we got nothing, Joe. That's okay. You'll make up for it later. So, the Syracuse Orange basketball team on a 2-game win streak in the ACC. I said this was my gauge, these 2 games. It was my low bar. It was my low bar, but a bar nonetheless. And they hurdled them both. So, I got nothing bad to say. We'll talk about those games. We'll hear from you after the Boston College game. I'm not going to go back and do fan feedback after the Georgia Tech game. But the important thing is that Syracuse beat Boston College. That's the most important thing, and I hope we all remember that Syracuse beat Boston College. And that's always a good thing. Yes. So at Boston College, too. They go on the road. They get their first road win of the season. Now, when they said that during the broadcast, I said, you're a damned liar. But they weren't. That was the truth. So
yep.
It's kind of crazy to be at this point in the season and not just now getting your first road win. So I said I was going to be positive. I'm sorry. Look, the bigger news, as if that wasn't big enough, we've all been on pins and needles waiting for Kyle McCord to get his waiver granted and wait for his decision. Well, the waiver took long enough to destroy the early portal advances for Fran Brown, and took long enough for Kyle McCord to say, look, I'm going to go try this NFL thing and not pursue my waiver. So he's declared for the draft, as you all already know, and it's about what I figured. I never got my hopes up on any of this stuff. The NCAA drags their feet long enough to screw this whole thing up, in my opinion. And here's the thing. Even if it's granted, does Kyle McCord come back? I don't know. You know, Joe, I mean, he's good enough to declare. I feel like, a couple steps ahead of LeQuint, where we talked about. But kind of like with the whole LeQuint situation, I mean, you feel like the writing was kind of on the wall a little bit, right? I mean, because we talked about that a little bit, but we're going to lose Kyle McCord, and Fran Brown's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah.
He did a lot in around this same time last year. It was before our bowl game, but we're talking probably about three weeks of a difference, right? He got started last year, but he's been on the trail though. So I mean, things are working behind the scenes, but we just no news.
Well, I mean, the 2025. The recruiting class is pretty much set. Obviously, there's some additions that you can make. I mean, I guess it's one of those things where it's last year, there's the spring transfer portal. We spoke about that in past podcasts. Like there's going to be more kids that come out. They're going to go to a school, or they're going to stay another semester and try out the spring game, spring practice, see where they are in the pecking order. And there's going to be people that transfer. We had last year, I think we got Savion Washington and Justice Ross Simmons, and I want to say, what was it, Nixon, the running back, and Clarence Lewis. I mean, we got all those 4 guys in the summer transfer portal. So I think we'll be okay. So it's just trying to, get the whole quarterback situation put to place. And again, it sucks, like you said, that the NCAA shuffled their feet because, and here we are. We don't know if they would have made a decision sooner, that we would have had a better chance of keeping Kyle. But from everything that I've heard, They're hearing good things about him. I know that he, the last 2 games between beating Miami and outdueling Cam Ward and then going to the bowl game and doing what he did, that he kind of went up. I want to say in some pro football, rankings as they rank the players in the draft. Some people have him, as high as 5, 6, 7 on the quarterback list, and I don't know. I think obviously selfishly we wanted him and Quinn Allen to come back because of the seasons they've had, but realistically, I mean, with the seasons they had, I feel like it just only makes sense for them to move forward. I mean, we do have a tough schedule next year, and with the momentum that Kyle McCord has gotten with this season, who's to say that he's going to get the same momentum? Sometimes players come back and they have a worse season, or they get injured, and then their stock goes down. And another thing is they're another year older, and that is one of the bigger things with the Quinn Allen. I think because of their positions is really the reason why they should have gone, because running backs really they don't really get drafted too high anyway. A lot of time their drafts, stocks goes down. You see a lot of undrafted running backs that make it in the NFL. And then as far as quarterbacks goes, I mean, there's going to be teams that jump for quarterbacks. So Kyle is going to get drafted. We don't know if LeQuinn's going to get drafted, but we do know that he is definitely going to get a chance to prove himself on a team in the preseason. So, and as far as running back goes, I mean, it all comes down to the miles and the carries, and the lifespan of a running back in professional football is very, very short. So taking another year of just beating in college, and with a chance to not have 1,500 plus yards and 20 touchdowns, I don't think that's a chance that he's willing to take.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't know if
it's unfortunate. I wanted them both be back, but I mean, it makes sense to me when you really step back.
I don't think Kyle's gonna got anything more to prove other than like making a serious Heisman run next year. There's nothing really he needs to prove as far as advancing his stock in the NFL.
Right, and that's kind of where I'm at with that. They would have to go back and they would have to have similar seasons. And you're talking about putting yourself in a chance to, like you said, win the Heisman or win the ACC and go to the college football playoff. Anything short of that, if those guys were to return, would be probably deemed unsuccessful. So, and with that schedule we have, it's definitely not guaranteed. So,
yeah, not going to be easy. So, sophomore slump for Fran Brown. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see.
No, we don't know. I mean, we got Deuce Chestnut and Petrie coming back, right? So, or Petrie, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those things where you just, when your star player goes, it's like kind of the wind's deflated a little bit out of the fan base a little bit. So, I mean, Fran Brown's got whether he's working things behind the scenes or not, or he's already got something or whatever the case is. I mean, unfortunately for Fran Brown, and not like, I'm not going there with like the fan base calling for his job or anything, but he started so strong and put together such a good team that's where the standard is now.
They set the bar high.
Yes, they set the bar very high, and with a schedule that we thought was it was way harder than we thought it was on paper before the season started. So I thought it was way more difficult than what I gave it credit for at the beginning of the year. But the bar's set so high that it's going to be a lot of work for everybody. Now, if anyone can do it, I think Fran Brown can do it. So we'll see what happens. But, there's still some decent quarterbacks out there, I mean, for crying out loud, Carson Beck just went like last week, right? To Miami.
Yep.
He wants to go win a championship, apparently, so he left Georgia to go to Miami. Okay.
Writing on the wall there, too.
Okay, guy. All right. So, anyways, that's that's left to be seen. So we'll see what he starts putting together, and we'll go from there. So,
and that's where it comes down to expectations, right? I mean, I don't know if anybody thought that he was going to come in and have, a 10-win season in his first year. And again, that's what you said. Like, people want to see advancement from year to year, So, not saying that we should have just won 8 games and then he wouldn't have such high but I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that as far as fans are concerned, I mean, I'm not going to expect Kyle McCord next year.
No, I mean, I wouldn't either.
I mean, already going into it, you got, things to make up just between. You're losing, I think, a couple linemen, Gadsden,
Meeks,
LaQuinn Allen, and McCord,
Diggs.
And that's going to be tough.
Well, for the offense, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's a lot of. It's
going to be tough to make up. That's all I'm saying. I mean, obviously, hopefully, Zeke Haynes comes back, and we got a couple younger, guys that are talented, and we know we got Gill and some of those, Pena coming back, Justice Ross Simmons. So we're going to have guys, but it's who's throwing the ball. So,
the basketball team has won 2 games in a row, as I mentioned. So, I mean, there's a little glimmer of hope in this week's news, and
goodness.
Good on this team for picking themselves up and getting back out there, and after a really kind of, since the whole year. I mean, you go back and look at the schedule, and I'm just thinking, well, they beat Bucknell, they lost 2 games, beat Bucknell, lost 2 games, and then they win these 2 games, which is good. But there's a pattern here.
You see that?
Yeah.
Win 2, lose 2. Win 2, lose 2. Win 2, lose 2.
It was win. Win 1, lose 2. Win 1, lose 2.
Won 3.
Yeah.
And then it was lose 2, win 2. Lose 2, win 2.
Lose 2, win 1. Lose 2, win 1. Lose 2, win 1. Lose 2, win 2.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Count again. So, you pulled a Sean there.
I did.
So, yeah, it's kind of weird, and everybody that they lost to obviously is a good team. They're going out and they're beating the scrubs like they should. But now look, Georgia Tech and Boston College, talk about scrubs. I mean, they're scrubs. So, but that's good because they got to get ahead of, 3 teams to make this ACC tournament, which is obviously for me, they're only in. And right now they're like almost middle of the pack.
They're 11th.
So it's very early, but
5 teams with 1 or less wins in the ACC right now. So
yeah, which, you go ahead and you look at, we can just talk real quick about tomorrow night, Joe. I mean, you can give your thoughts on that. I know you got a little something to
right now or
to
after
give on
we
that.
talk.
No, we can do it later, but they got Louisville coming up tomorrow. We got to play Notre Dame again. That's a winnable game. You look at Notre Dame and you think, boy, if we can have Donnie Freeman back and J.J. Starling's back, they got their players back. So that'll be an interesting game. And then Clemson's pretty good. Pitt's pretty good. Stanford's pretty good. Mm-hmm. Cal's right there kind of with us, I feel like.
Yep.
And then you play Duke.
Yeah.
So
that West Coast trip's going to be crucial.
It is. And I mean, they're going to be there for a week. And actually, not really. Probably, well, I guess all together maybe. They get there early and get adjusted.
5, right?
Yeah. So, we'll see what happens. We'll get into a little bit of the fan feedback, which I just nudged my eyeballs on here a minute ago. But it's a slate of difficult teams. You get a little bit of a break again, maybe after California, Duke, and then you get Boston College again. So, and as long as everybody can stay healthy, because that's been a huge problem this year, and you just look forward to them just hustling and getting consistent, and that's kind of the key. Through the 2 games, all of the numbers were better than they have been. Even 55 for 122 through the 2 games from the floor, 45%. It's like, I'll take. That's not a high bar. Shooting 25% from 25.7% from three. I mean, I'll take that too. And 70% from the line in the two games. And 71% really. I'll take that too. I mean, all those numbers are better than they have been. And, you're playing ACC opponents. One of them, a kind of a big time rival. And I don't know if the players feel that or realize that or if it even matters to them at all, but that's a fact of it. And so, you hope that they can continue, but Louisville is a tough team, and that's going to be extremely...
It's going to be a different game than these two, I mean, Georgia Tech and the Georgia Tech-Syracuse game was, I don't want to say tough to watch, but...
No, that was tough to watch, Joe. That was... They say there's no... better to have an ugly win than a pretty loss. That's a toss-up for me after watching that game. I mean, it was so bad. And the thing about it is that between the two teams, between Georgia Tech and Boston College, 43% from the floor and Georgia Tech 38. So you're not going to get teams in this next big run of games that are going to be that cold from the floor. I mean, the Georgia Tech game was like the misses back and forth, the missed opportunities for both of those teams to just put that game away was unbelievable. Like it was, anybody could have just, if they could have hit a couple shots, could have got some momentum and put that game away. But they both refused. They're both like, no, you do it. No, you do it. It was so bad to watch. Yeah. It really was. I'm sorry. But, JJ Starling, both games above 20 or more points, right? Yeah, 26 and 21. So he looks like he's getting better and feeling it. And Kyle Cuff was pretty damn good against Boston College. We've seen him shine, and I feel like he's getting coach is getting a little bit better of a rotation. Obviously, when Donnie Freeman comes back, this is going to change. But,
yeah, I mean, look, it's and Donnie Freeman. Just to bring up Donnie Freeman, it's one of those things. I think that all year there's been times where I've seen Donnie Freeman kind of moving around and he's limping, or it's just looked like he hasn't looked 100%, and I think that it has something to do with some of his play. He fights through it. I don't know if this is finally just everything just culminating to he just can't play, but we spoke about it before. This was a team full of role players, and then they were missing their superstar. And when you look at the Georgia Tech game, obviously, I think that Jair Davis has actually filled in admirably for Donnie Freeman the last two games. With Georgia Tech, he had 8 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. Eddie Lapkin had 10 points, 12 rebounds, and Lucas Taylor had 5 rebounds, 10 points, and then Chris Bell had 13 points off the bench, and he was doing different things, and things like that. Different than just shooting threes. He only hit 1 3. He was 1 of 5, but he still had 13 points because he was going to the hole and hit a couple jumpers and things like that. I think that Peter Mastorovich has been good coming in. Kyle Cuff, obviously, he only played 4 minutes in Georgia Tech game, but you saw a superstar take over and his role players do what they're supposed to do. We still had 18 turnovers to Georgia Tech's 13, but we out-rebounded them, and we were better at the free throw line. There wasn't really a lot of free throw shot, but it was ugly, but we eked it out on that one. And then obviously I think that gave us all a little bit more confidence going into the Boston College game, The fact that we might be able to go there and win because we finally got an ACC win,
Very similar teams, Boston College and Georgia Tech, really. I mean, they're equally as bad, in my opinion.
God.
Don't you think? I mean, what's crazy is they're up there now too after this past weekend. I mean, there's a lot of 1-4 teams right now. That's the thing.
Right.
So it's going to be hard to tell until this thing gets spread out. But Miami 0-5 in the ACC. I mean, they're not doing anything.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. They only have 4 wins the whole season.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, we kind of knew that at the beginning of the year. It was pretty telling, fairly quick, how that was going to go, right? And you look at the net. I mean, Syracuse moves up 1 point in the net after beating, or 1 spot, I should say, And then
it was a quad 3 game.
Yeah. And, I couldn't even find Boston College in the net. Where the hell are they? Are they that low?
I usually just alphabetical order the teams so I can find them. It's usually the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, they actually went up one after losing to Syracuse. They went up from 223 to 222. So Boston College loses the game versus Syracuse at home, gains a spot. Syracuse beats Boston College on the road, gains 1 spot.
Make it make sense.
What the hell? Golly, man. I gave this effing thing way too much credit. This whole net system.
I know we have this conversation every year. We beat it to death last year, but
last year was the first year where it really confused us.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just me being, cynical about not being cynical. Like I should have just never trusted it. And yep. I'm shocked that someone as cynical as me and who hates the NCAA as much as me actually gave this thing a fighting chance. Because it's such trash. And it's the holy grail now. It's the gospel. You know what I'm saying? It's so dumb, man. Golly, they ruin everything. I wish the NCAA ran the government. That's what they need to do. The NCAA needs to run the government and just ruin the government. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I don't think they need any help with that.
Yeah, no. Okay. All right. So look, let's go to some fan feedback. And look, I know we're a day late. We'll be back Sunday this week to recap. I'll tell you what. If Syracuse pulls off an upset against Louisville, then we may come back Wednesday, but don't count on it. But who knows? See, here's the thing with the Syracuse team. You get all these players back. They could pull off an upset. This could be one of those. It's not going to be like a magical year where they make some kind of run in the ACC tournament and get to the NCAA tournament and do some damage there. But you do have a story that could develop where Syracuse knocks off one of these upper echelon teams that can actually give us something to brag about.
Yeah. I don't know about Duke, but
maybe a Pitt, maybe a, huh?
I said I definitely think there are some though. So yeah.
Yeah. who knows? It's like everybody's saying, it's finally true this time. They say it all. We hear it every year. Oh, the ACC's down. The ACC's down, right? ACC's down. ACC's down. Well, a lot of times that ends up being BS. But this year, I think it's true. So, at Dave T1209, are we back? I don't think so.
I don't think we can call that.
I don't think so, David. Here's the thing. We'll find out tomorrow. This was my gauge for this team, and what it did for me, like for real, at the end of the day, was it gave me faith that they could actually go out, put it together as sloppy as it may be, and still win a game. Right?
Yeah.
If you can pull off a win like you did against Georgia Tech, there might be something there, as terrible as that was.
Sloppy there.
Well, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Boston College, looking back to it, Boston College had 6 turnovers. We only had 5 turnovers. Wasn't really sloppy. No,
I'm talking about Georgia Tech.
Oh, okay. Is this fan feedback for Georgia Tech or Boston College?
Huh? No. I'm commenting just in general.
Oh, okay.
The fan feedback's from Boston College. I'm just saying, if you go back to the Georgia Tech game, as bad as we played, we still won. Now, we played a team that played worse because they suck. But, you still pull off a win like that, it says something. Yeah. It's not all negative. There's a little silver lining there that you can play that bad in the ACC and win a game. And there's a lot of negative to that, but at least there is the fact that we won. If we played that bad and lost, how embarrassed should Georgia Tech feel after going into that game and having, the freaking, what was it? 18 turnovers committed by Syracuse. And you still lose that game.
No.
18-13 on the turnover, and you still lose that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's pathetic. And Syracuse only gets to the line 9 times. It says something. There's something positive there. So, anyways.
Right.
At Roger Clark 41, I was convinced they were done, and then they actually showed me something there. Love, Cuff's toughness, and Starling. Well, thank God for him. Absolutely. So, like I said earlier, I think he's getting a little more comfortable. I think like you've noticed him catching the ball a little bit easier now. I feel like he's not as, ginger with that left hand when he's catching the ball and stuff. So, yeah, I feel like it's coming along, and when he's good and Donnie Freeman's back, if he comes back anytime soon and he gets in the rhythm, they're going to be decent. I think they're going to be decent. I don't know where they end up. They still got a lot of things to clean up. Mainly just cohesion.
Oh yeah.
It's still a little bit of the defensive stuff, but the cohesion, and they get confused easy. And,
sometimes,
I love Eddie Lampkin. He's one of my favorite guys on this team right now, just because he doesn't have any quit in him that I can see. Plays hard. But he makes some dumb mistakes. 1 minute you can see him doing something tremendous, and then another minute you're like, what the hell was that?
Bad as far as that's concerned. But, just going back to what we were saying about Boston College, you start looking at the role players, Jair Davis against Boston College, 12 points, 8 rebounds. Eddie Lampkin, 10 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists. Lucas Taylor had 15 points. Lucas Taylor, he's really actually started to surprise me. Scoring. He's had 25 points the last 2 games. And then instead of Chris Bell coming off the bench and scoring, it was Kyle Cuff this time. And he had a lot of big plays. I think he had a steal. I think he took a charge, went 2 for 3 from the 3-point line. And, just listening to Coach Autry's press conference, they asked him about Kyle Cuff, and he was like, because they were saying that he wasn't, he going from somebody that wasn't playing that much early on to now be getting in the mix. And coach basically said, like, he forced me to play him. Like, the way that he showed up to practice, he wasn't all upset in his feelings because he wasn't starting. Like, he took that as a challenge and busted his butt and forced coach's hands and said, based upon how you're playing, I have to play you. And obviously it's been a pleasant surprise. I don't think that a lot of us were going to see a lot of that, and obviously having JJ Starling back, you obviously don't need to play Jaquan Carlos that much and everything. But again, it's figuring out who's right for what, and just, the way that we have, the makeup of our team and everything. I think that right now it looks like we got something going with JJ starting at point guard and Lucas Taylor starting at the shooting guard. And, we'll see what happens as far as that goes. But it's just that's one of the biggest things that I saw as far as the last 3 games is that, you have the Jair Davis, Eddie Lampkin, and Lucas Taylor. They're the role players that are really, putting up the stats you need to be able to support a JJ Starling to win games.
Okay, whatever. At the I'm just messing with you. I'm so sorry. I was reading a text from work and I missed a little bit of that. So I didn't know how to respond. So my natural reaction was to blow you off, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll go back and listen.
That's fine. You don't need to.
I'm sorry, dude. Oh man. At Theo Cuse. He says, meh. Starling is super quick and just exciting to watch. Good win, but just don't feel the energy that I once did. Hoping to get it back. It's fair. You gotta draw the fans back in, bro.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is the fans. I think the Georgia Tech game was like one of the lowest that we've had for an ACC game for quite some time, and yeah. I've seen the energy as far as the players are concerned. I'm sorry. Based upon some of the things that I've seen as body language earlier in the year when we were barely beating some teams we should have blown out. Like, I've seen way better energy on the bench. And yeah, I do think that there is a message that's being sent in practice that if you're not going to be a good teammate on and off the court and on the bench, then I don't know how much you're going to get in.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to give it you got to give it everywhere because they need cheerleaders. Especially if the fans aren't going to show up. They got to
But then when you're on the bench, you're there to like pump the players up. You know, if you make a good play and you're on the court and then you look over and you see your bench going crazy, like that's going to pump you up. That's going to pump the fans up. You're also there. That team on the bench, those teammates could be turning around and trying to, you know, get the damn fans up. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that you can do instead of just, I mean, sometimes I still see some of it where there's a good play, somebody scores or somebody does something good, and you just have a player on the bench not even reacting. To me, that's just not good body language whatsoever. You shouldn't be.
It's unacceptable as a teammate.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
That's somebody that's upset that they're not out there doing it or they're not out there playing. And to me, that's a little selfish.
Well, the game has become selfish.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of always been on the verge, but it kind of when you've got like this many new incoming players, like every, you know, to be fair, every year you're getting a lot of new players, one year guys and things like that. When you get a lot of that, man, it's selfish city. That's just I think the nature of it, unfortunately, because these kids are trying to make a name for themselves and go make money no matter where it is. I thought that some of the NIL stuff would slow some of that down because you can make a good living now in playing college basketball.
Yeah.
But I just don't think the lights are bright enough for some of these guys, and it's not enough. You know what I mean? Like sometimes when you get what you want, you ever be in that situation where you get what you want something, you get it, and you're like, oh man, it's awesome. But you know, and then now you want the next best thing. Like you got what you got, you wanted it, but now you want something else because you already got what you wanted. So it's always the next shiny thing. So I just feel like it's the nature of how the game is. And that's why I was kind of saying it affects basketball a little bit more harshly than it does football just because of the size of the roster. I mean, you get a couple bad apples that are really good and they're starting, not necessarily bad apples, but selfish players. It's really hard to be a selfish player in football. You know what I mean? I mean, someone's calling plays. You got to deal with it, you know.
I mean, look, you could be selfish, but it shows up on tape pretty damn easy.
Right, sure, yeah. Yes. I mean, you're more apt if you got a selfish quarterback who likes to run a lot or something like. You know what I'm saying? It's just like one of those things. That's just the dynamic between football and basketball is totally different.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, it's not for nothing. And you wish them well, but at the same time, like those are the people that you need to kind of venture on. Yeah,
they got to. That's the snake. You know what you do with a snake? Cut his head off.
Yep.
Our boy Nadal still got at least one starling on this team. At CL Burke, the people killing Autry the past few weeks need to shut the F up and let him coach, especially with the incoming recruits.
Yep. Yeah, you don't want to lose those guys.
Yeah, well, right. You don't want to turn the fan base to turn super negative. You know, for the Georgia Tech game, which was a Tuesday. Was that a Tuesday? Was that the Tuesday early game? No. That was what? 7. It wasn't 7 o'clock. Was it 5 o'clock?
No, it was the 7th.
Was it the 7th? Either way, whatever. There was one. There was. I don't know. I don't know what day it was.
It was last Tuesday.
Okay, that's what I said. Last Tuesday. What time was it?
7.
7. Okay, 7. Sorry, I misunderstood you.
13,935.
Tickets sold. There's no way there was that many people there. Now, listen. Here's the thing. Here's Syracuse's This is one of Syracuse's big problems after they go and spend all this money on this dome. This is a problem. You could build a facility that holds 15,000 to 18,000. And that now, all of a sudden, that place is packed. You put 13...
Tickets are limited.
Huh?
Tickets are limited. You better get your ticket.
Yeah. not only that, but, obviously the prices are going to be higher. They're selling $1 tickets because they got all these empty seats in the dome. It's just, I feel like the atmosphere for basketball would be a whole lot better. I mean, it's good when it's packed. It's awesome when it's packed, right? Yeah. But when was the last time we really, really saw it packed? It's been a while. Yeah. It's been a little bit. So I'm saying if they were going to invest in anything else in Syracuse, New York, it should be a separate basketball facility that holds something like 15 to 18,000. And you'd still have that's
aquarium.
Big. Huh?
I said an aquarium.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, what's Cameron Indoor hold? 8,500?
No, I'm just saying that they're building an aquarium in downtown Syracuse.
Yeah, I know. Well, you got to have an aquarium. Every place has to have an aquarium. You got walleye in there. You got largemouth bass in there. You got sturgeon in there. You got red-eared sliders in there. You got mud puppies in there. You got lings in there. All the shit we pull out of Oneida Lake, they're going to throw in that freaking aquarium.
I want them to throw some damn fish from Onondaga Lake in there.
No, we don't want any fish from Onondaga Lake.
I want to see some damn Simpson type looking fish.
Yeah, we don't need any of that. In fact, I've never caught a mud puppy, but I think my brother has. But they're around. Anyway, you get some big pike out of there, Yeah. But yeah, that's what the hell are they gonna put in the freaking aquarium in Syracuse? What are they gonna do?
I'm assuming it's saltwater and they're gonna make it super cool.
Oh, okay. At Oil Cuse, our buddy Captain Patrick. Did we win yet? Are we good yet? No. Is Joe nasty AF? Obviously. I agree. I totally agree. At Joe Catskill. Good road win. Love that Starling decided to take control after the scoring drought. Go Orange. Oh, they made free throws too. Yes, that's a great point. Talked a little bit about that, but they did hit 16 for 22 against Boston College. And I think, what did Starling have? He only had a couple in the first half, and then he just went off in the second half.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what he had in the second half, but I do know that it was tied at halftime, 32-32.
Yeah, after
at some point,
buzzer beater 3 too.
Right. At some point, Boston College took an 8-point lead, and JJ just took over. And yeah,
he did.
Come back, we win, and then we actually hit free throws down the stretch. I mean, we hit free throws down the stretch like that against Texas, we win.
Yeah, crazy as that sounds. If it's some butts or candy nuts, we all have a Merry Christmas. That's the freaking problem.
Christmas is over.
Christmas is over. Christmas is not, well, I mean, I'm almost ready to decorate for next Christmas right now, actually.
Oh, my Lord.
It's still cold out. By the way, it snowed here, right? Look, get this, bro.
It snowed here.
Yeah, you got more than I did, I think.
I don't think so, but go ahead.
You don't think so?
I got less than half an inch, yeah.
I mean, so do we. So we probably got about the same.
Dusting.
Yeah, I mean, I could still see my yard perfectly, right? So, anyways... One of my guys goes up, so we got the northern territory of where we're at. It's called the Peninsula. That's Williamsburg and Yorktown and Newport News and all that up there, right? Well, it's way colder up there. I mean, this time of year, it's colder up there, and they get hit. They're just enough north of us. They get hit with more snow, so it's probably like an inch, right, in the spot where this guy goes to start installing, right. He texts me, he's like, dude, it's too much snow here. I'm like, really? Is that much snow up there? He sends me a picture. I can still see grass coming up through the snow. This dude's talking about there's too much snow. Like, no, dude, I can still see grass. So he's like, well, the grass is really long. I'm like, dude, come on. Anyway, we did get snow, and, half inch, whatever. My 10-year-old couldn't even hardly make snowballs. It was that little of snow. So I saw the sorriest ass snowman on my street that I think I've ever seen. So the thing was shorter than me. Imagine that.
Holy shit.
At Barry Cuse, not about the game, but if I ordered from Eddie's restaurant, oh boy, why did I start going down this one? But if I ordered from Eddie's restaurant thing or whatever, does he deliver? Does he have employees? DoorDash bones you on fees. And plus, if you get to see 44 roll up with Cajun pasta for you, it's a big win. That's Eddie's joint.
Eddie.
Yeah. Hey, look. I mean, it's worth a shot. here's the thing. I doubt they deliver, but you'd probably still, you could use Uber Eats. They'll go pick it up for you, I'm sure. By the way, that's pretty cool. Dude's playing basketball in college, got a restaurant. I mean, that's doing something with your NIL money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
True. Entrepreneur.
Yeah, I'm impressed by that.
Yeah.
At Mike S748555165. Nice effort by our guys. Always sweet to beat Boston College in anything. Absolutely. See, I love that. That's you know, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, that was the best thing of the weekend. Besides my Bills waxing the Broncos, you know.
Oh my God.
We got issues watching Nova versus St. John's in the Garden. Wow, we are way behind the curve. The talent on both these teams is top notch. Big East has zoomed by ACC. Boeheim was right. Yeah. You know what? Here's the thing with me. This is where I'm at this year. That's pretty much all I got. Consistency is key. Let's see at Bob Adsit. There we go. That's it. And Joey. Just call him Joey. Q still isn't good, but JJ is a dog. Here's my thing about the point I was about to make that I forgot because I sidetracked myself with my ADD and read the rest of these tweets. What was I saying? What was I saying? What was I going to say?
How am I supposed to know what you were going to say?
Okay. It may come back to me. I don't know. Big East has zoomed by ACC. Boeheim was right. Hell if I know. That's too bad. I was about to make a good point. It was probably brilliant. Actually.
I don't know. You said something about your Bills and this and that. I don't know.
No, I didn't have anything to do with the Bills. Anyways, that's all I got for that, Joe. Look, I know what I was going to say. The fact that he brings up the Big East and knowing this, that, and the other, like, I would watch a lot of basketball normally. I haven't been watching any. In fact, I've watched Syracuse. I haven't even really watched other teams play. Little bits here and there, passing through, but I've not like sat down. Now I'm kind of, it's been busy here, but I haven't really like sat down and just watched a bunch. You know, I haven't even watched ACC PM for basketball yet this year. So it's like, I don't know. I don't want to see other teams doing good. That's like, too much for me. Like, I understand what he's saying. Like, there are leaps and bounds ahead of us. I mean, I get it. It's just one of those things. Like, I don't want to know about it. All right, Joe. Syracuse is going to play. They're going to host Louisville tomorrow at 7, and this team's 12-5. I think they're on a 6-game win streak. What are they on? Let me see.
Yeah, 6.
6-game win streak, beating Florida State, Eastern Kentucky, whatever, right? Still, they're one of their in-state rivalries. North Carolina, Virginia, Clemson, and Pitt.
Yeah.
Those are all big-time schools right there. I mean,
Go look at their losses.
Carolina, Clemson, Pitt, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Duke, and Tennessee. So all of those are ranked currently except for Oklahoma, right?
They have 5 losses, but yeah, they're all 5 of their losses.
Oh, I'm sorry. Kentucky is ranked too. Yeah. Another in-state. So, yeah, they're good.
Yeah, they could very well be the second best team behind Duke.
Yeah, they're really good. And, you know, I don't know these names, bro. I don't remember these names.
And guess what? There's a reason why, because they are literally all transfers.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, backstory: Louisville, they have a new coach this year. His name Pat Kelsey, and he came from College of Charleston, where the last 2 years, I think they're 58-12. I want to say. They were 31-4 last year, and he pretty much brought over a couple guys. I mean, just go through the starters real quick. James Scott, sophomore forward. He came over from College of Charleston, and Rain Smith is just, I mean, he went 7 of 11 from the 3-point line against Pittsburgh. He's a 3-point, I want to say he's a lefty guard. He came over from College of Charleston as well. So the coach brought those two over, And then he also got Terrence Edwards Jr., 6'6" guard, and he is a graduate from James Madison. He was scoring like 15 or 17 points a game over there last year. Point guard Chucky Hepburn is obviously another graduate. He came over from Wisconsin. And Javon Hadley is another graduate transfer guard, and he came over from Colorado. So there's a little bit of a connection there. Javon Hadley played with Eddie Lampkin last year at Colorado. And then he brought another guy over. Ooh, that's a tough name. Abubakar Traore from Long Beach State.
Let me help you with that.
Pretty good. I said it pretty good. Abubakar Traore came over from Long Beach State.
Yeah, Abubakar Traore. That's what I would say too.
Noah Waterman, another graduate, came over from BYU. Connie Ruths, who is a freshman who looks to me against Pittsburgh, he was the only guy with double-digit minutes off the bench. And another guy that has a little bit of connection is that's where Frank Anselm plays.
Oh, really?
Doesn't play a lot. He only played 2 minutes last game against Pitt. But this is a team that really, I mean, they're not that big. They play a lot of guards. They have like I said, James Scott. He's a 6'11" forward, and then you're talking about a couple 6'6" guys, a 6'2" guard, and I want to say Rain Smith is 6'2". So we might see a little bit more of the Noah Watermans and the Frank Anselms if we're a little bit bigger, but they're guard heavy. They can shoot threes. They play fast. They score, and it's definitely going to be a difficult game. They don't go as deep as us, but I mean, it's one of those things where you never know matchups. Every team's different. I feel like we have a good matchup situation as far as down low, but who knows? This James Scott guy, he might be one of those those centers that are just too athletic for Eddie Lampkin. So we'll see what happens. But this team hits threes, man. I mean, they went 13 to 35 from threes the other day against Pittsburgh, and it's going to be tough. I mean, it's a brand new team, brand new coach, and it really to me looks like Louisville's back.
Yeah, 30% from three, which isn't like jumping off the charts, but they got that Renee Smith is hitting.
Rain.
What did I say?
Renee,
whatever. Okay, close enough.
We're not talking about their women's team.
Dude, there's dudes named Renee. That's the thing.
I know.
What is he at 39%? So, 60, and he shoots a lot. I mean, he shoots the most on the team, that 156. Yep. So it's his thing. Yep. So, I mean, look, this will be my first time watching Louisville this year.
35 in the net.
So quad 1 game at home. No, it's not.
No, it's
not.
Quad
2 game.
Mm-hmm. But guess what?
Can't hurt.
We still don't have a quad 2 win either. So
yeah. So anyway,
chance of a quad 2 win.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, it could be a frustrating game to watch, but I'll tell you what: if they do win, we'll be back here Wednesday to talk about.
Really?
I mean, why not? Why not?
I mean, it could be. Yeah. I mean, it would be a little bit of a turning point, I think. But yeah, definitely give people hope.
It would be we may not win a bigger game this season.
It's fair.
So, capitalize on the downloads. I mean, why not? But after that is Notre Dame on Saturday. I mean, we could win 4 in a row. Don't count on it. I'm just saying. Just saying it's a possibility right now. It's a possibility until tip-off. So the next slate of games is next, 3 out of the next 4 are tough. Top of the ACC teams in Louisville, Clemson, and Pitt, with Notre Dame sandwiched in there after Louisville.
Yep.
So, all right, that's going to do it. I think, look, I may not have come as prepared as I'd like to today, but that's why I brought Joe back again. It's like the 500th time in a row I've brought Joe back, if not more. So he's lucky. Thank me.
Appreciate it, man.
You're welcome. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.